has truly changed, and it was not driven by us as leaders of the staff. It's driven from the floor up. People are embracing change. Just some pictures before. This is before we really got engaged and get people engaged to change. This happened last month. So these are not dated pictures. Here's what it looked like before engagement, after engagement. This is just not 5S. There's TPM involved. There's different system changes, different cultural changes, a shift in ownership, terminals that went up that let them run their own business. They became their own manager or self-managed. In the end, here's what's happened as we've engaged people. We started this journey. This is just hours work just to give you a scope. You should work 14,343 hours a day to make 34,000 tires. In January, we made 38,000 tires, and we only worked 13,642 hours. And if you ride that down this drive and change, this is just some areas. We're in our mix area. Our baseline was batches per day. Again, 7.7% improvement. And now, as Kerry talked about, we're idling equipment because the quality of our product, the yield, the throughput is improved, but we've created headroom. We're idling equipment doing TPMs, other continuous improvement activities. Quality. Look at our slow moving. This is a material that's at a standstill, sitting on the floor. It's a hidden factory, valued at over $3 million. Again, we're driving it down. We're impacting the quality, and the people are putting the systems in. Ship stock. We used to purchase stock to run our facility from a third-party vendor. Again, $1 million in savings per month that we don't have to purchase anymore from an outside vendor. In the end, by addressing the mindsets and behaviors of our organization, we become one organization. This is our CEO. The pursuit for a strong relationship never ends. Mindsets and behaviors truly change an organization for the good. People embrace their organization, and they lead change, and at the end of the day, it's a people's business. It's not a manufacturing business for us. At this point, I'll answer any questions that anyone may have.
All right, Billy. It looks like so far there was a couple questions that were typed in. David Wiss had a couple of them. One of them was, how long did the transformation take?
Overwhelming. The overall organizational transformation, when we first started this journey, we had 3 months, and it took hold. And the change, the engagement, involvement of the people, it exceeded our expectations. And at that point, we had to figure how do we sustain and grow the organization. So at that point, we went to the CI meetings. We came up with a different structure to capture the engagement. And now we're embarking on throughput optimization and standard work around throughput optimization. And now it's continuing to improve. Month over month, we continue to get better.
Okay. His second question was, what was the one activity done that made that cultural shift?
I started with, we had these, you see the T-shirts you have there? At that point, we were running 31,000 tires a day. And it was swarming intelligence, as Kerry talked about, getting everybody on board, the emotional intelligence piece, to understand what was true north. So at this point, we need to get to 38,000 tires a day. The market demand at that point was right around 37, and we're running 31,000 tires a day. We coined this jersey, a common theme, and we gave everybody in the plant a jersey. I think 2,800 people, a custom jersey. On the front of the jersey, it has our team name, Fayetteville. On each sleeve, we adopted a theme like a professional sport. U.S. Steel Workers was on one sleeve. That is the player representative. And Goodyear was on the other sleeve. That's the team you play for. On the back of that jersey, it had the choice. We wanted to be the choice of the customer, the choice of an associate that works here, and the choice of our community. So we crafted a common theme, a common message, And we went out there and we mass communicated, and we got buy-in from the people. They designed the jersey. We didn't design the jersey. And then at that point, we kept pushing the theme. And then operational excellence, at that point, that was the focus. And then we had roundtables. Every day, I had a meeting at 6:15 and 2:15. We brought in 25 people in each session. And this was 5 days a week. And every 10 days, I was face-to-face with 500 people. They could ask me anything they wanted to ask, to dispel rumors, to address their concerns, to give them real live feedback face-to-face. And at that point, the trust started to come. And it was critical that I live the creed. Basically, what I said, I did.
Awesome, thank you. Next one was there any turnover in terms of leadership team leaving or changing, and how did you approach that?
Yes, it was. There was some good change, and there was some change where people had to exit the team. They weren't a good fit for where we were going, but it wasn't a maximum amount of change. Some key figures on my leadership team turned over, and some went in different roles and had different responsibilities that played to their strength. And some, this just wasn't an environment conducive for them, which at some point it was threatening the organization's success. And so we call it critical conversation.
Excellent. What was the driving force behind starting this? Was it a corporate program?
No, survival. At one point, and I say that mildly. When I say survival, I'm kind of kidding. Upon coming to Fayetteville, there were some challenges there. And when I first came to the plant, I assessed the organization, and initially I thought we had bad people. But you know what? As Kerry talked about that 80%, I had a real strong, positive workforce, but we weren't tapping into their true potential. We weren't linking to the organization and the core and the nucleus of the organization, which was at 80%. They wanted to do very well. And I take that 80%, and with that other 10% that's out there, I had 90% of the organization wanted to do well. But we were a struggling organization. We were a high-cost organization, and we were an unreliable supplier. And at that